back to Blue Jays Today Show, where today, everybody, we're going to be talking about all the changes that are happening with the Toronto Blue Jays roster. Over the weekend, we saw some great baseball, some good and some bad baseball as well. We also saw Max Scherzer hit the 15-day IL, which is very, very unfortunate. That's a big blow to the team, so we're going to talk about that a little bit and what implications that has to the Blue Jays and what moves that they've made in correspondence to that IL hit. So we'll get into all that and as well the positives on this Blue Jays opening day weekend. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And a massive shout out here immediately to Talon Podler with a $5 donation. Hilarious comment here saying, told my friend yesterday if Heineman hit a homer, I'd buy him a Heineman shirt. He had the same deal for straw. Best $50 I've ever spent. Go Bowden tonight. That's hilarious, man. The fact that you guys are riding with that.
Wow.
For those who don't know, Heineman had not hit a home run since 2019 up until yesterday afternoon when he belted one over there. Good insurance run there for the Toronto Blue Jays, making it 3-1 and then ultimately being able to hold on. But before we get into all the roster moves and everything like that, I like to occasionally start with a bit of a vibe check. We are now one series in, 4 games of baseball. It feels like anything and everything that we say at this current juncture of time is going to be an overreaction. However, we got the platform, so let's overreact right now. Where are you at with this Toronto Blue Jays team 4 games into 2025?
I think my pre-existing biases, are being confirmed right now after this series, which was I think we can handle the best of them, right? The Baltimore Orioles. I think we can stick with them. I think we can slug. I think we can get on for a high batting average and get on base and do damage and stay in ball games based on the whole David Popkins approach. However, I am thinking that, yes, there is a bit of a lack of depth in that pitching rotation once you lose Max Scherzer, and we'll get into that. The bullpen has some holes and some weaknesses, and we saw that this weekend. So everything I thought going into this opening day weekend is being confirmed. And I always thought that the Blue Jays could be competitive this year, so I feel like we have a chance to be competitive this year.
Except, and I don't think you need to give a full-blown apology here, but just a little bit of a nod to Mr. George Springer.
I have a whole segment about to talk about George Springer coming up on this show. Listen, look, we say a lot of things on the show, and I have been sticking, my stake in the ground, my flag in the hill, saying, hey, George is washed. He's done. He did get 4 hits and 11 at-bats. Granted, if you watch the at-bats, I have no clue how he got those hits. One of them was literally he's closing his eyes. I have no clue how he made contact with that ball. And others, resulted in weird check swings, but somehow it ended up in it resulting in a hit. Anyways, George, he got 4 hits. I can't complain with the result. We'll talk a little bit about what he's doing and how he looks forward a little bit later on. But if he keeps going, I can't say anything.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got Sophie in the chat right now. We know that she is a massive George Springer stan right there. The guy looked good. Honestly, if you keep hitting like that, can't say anything at all. The leash is going to be short with him, but you know what? We'll be the first to admit, 4 games in, Springer looks nice.
He had a good series.
He had a very good
series. And we, again, people in the chat are saying it was 1 day, sit down, George. If he does this over 6 more series, 7 more series, all right, we have a legit argument here.
We can really start talking.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive immediately into what did transpire this weekend, everybody. Toronto Blue Jays, Game 1, we don't got to talk about it. They got absolutely curb stomped. We broke it down pretty extensively on the Friday version of the Blue Jays Today show, so we're going to kind of leave that one in the dust, and honestly, I'm happy that we're doing it. Because after that, things definitely did improve. The 8-2 win on Friday, that was, for me, the most complete game that Toronto had over the course of this entire series. Pitching was solid. Kevin Gausman went 6 innings, 2 earned runs. He looked locked in. Few free passes with the 1 walk right there. And then for me, the offense really was just passing the baton consistently. I think what's so impressive here is that they put up 8 runs, and look at that home run category right there.
0.
Not a single one. Now, and I'm not advocating for having no home runs, but it was really nice to see this team just string hits together and consistently apply pressure to Baltimore so that any mistake that they made, and they did make a couple mistakes in this game, we were there to cash in.
Yeah, like we kept applying pressure, putting the ball in play, playing small ball, and then yeah, they did have some defensive mistakes too. They committed 2 errors in that one, and you did it against a player like Charlie Morton. How many times last year did you see the Blue Jays go up against a very beatable pitcher and just crumble and have them go and throw a 6 inning, 7 inning shutout, quality start? Like that's what we can't do this season. So we took advantage of the opportunity, knocking Charlie Morton out in the 4th inning. That's what I like to see. And the Blue Jays offense took care of business. We saw a little bit of Nick Sandlin. He gave up 3 walks, struck out 2, but no damage. Jimmy Garcia made his season debut. Holy moly. That guy, man, Jimmy looks like he hasn't left a beat since he left the Blue Jays.
Well, listen, if we're here to overreact about bullpen arms, I really like Jimmy right now. I also really like what I'm seeing out of Brennan Little. Both of those 2 guys, I mean, like they are getting the results, and their stuff looks rather filthy to go along with it. And Brennan Little especially. I mean, we always we expected anyways, or we were hopeful that Jimmy Garcia would be, some type of version of himself last year that we saw right in the first half. And so far that's been the case. Little had a lot more question marks. And again, we are, 4 games in, he's only pitched 1.2 innings. So the question marks are still there, but he's looked nice and is one of the very few lefties that we do have on this entire roster. It's nice to see him kind of thriving right now because he will be thrust into bigger moments more than some of those other guys.
100%. And so that game was a nice kind of bounce back game. You needed to beat the Orioles, and you beat them handily. Now, moving on to Game 3, which was on the Saturday. It was Max Scherzer's debut. We were live for it, of course. We were all very excited. But it was that excitement didn't live long because Max Scherzer left the game after 3 innings. He looked shaky in the first, a little shaky, not going to lie. But then it looked like he kind of started to figure it out. He was being vintage Max Scherzer, painting corners, etc. Striking guys out, struck out 1 guy, getting weak contact. But then he goes to the dugout and he gets pulled from the game. And that's because of the thumb injury, right? He had that thumb injury that we saw back in spring training, which affects his lat, and that continued on, and he got pulled from the game. And from that point, we saw Richard Lovelady come into the game and just absolutely get blown up. We had Jacob Barnes as well get blown up. That's 6 earned runs between the 2 of them from just 2 in a 3rd innings. Thoughts on Max Scherzer, first of all, injury, and then we could talk about kind of the bullpen stuff after.
Max Scherzer and the injury, like we got a lot of comments from, even some of our friends too, you guys as well, but, people saying, that was a stupid deal. You shouldn't have signed the guy 1 year. What are you doing? I don't understand it. Listen, for anybody out there that's saying like that was a horrible deal, I'm just going to inherently disagree with you. Even if Max Scherzer spends the entirety of the season on the IL and those 3 innings are the only 3 innings we see out of him, I still think that it's a dart throw that you're more than willing to take for somebody that's going to go to the Hall of Fame. What now needs to be proven is the backup plans behind Max Scherzer, right? We always knew that at some point, maybe not this early, or we were hopeful it wouldn't be this early, but we knew that at some given point this season, Max Scherzer was going to spend an extended period of time on the IL. That's just what was always going to happen. The Toronto Blue Jays should have known that as well. And if you have anything that you want to get upset about them for, it's if they've planned well enough or not for that eventuality. Now we're in that situation right now. Is the depth of the bullpen, is Yariel Rodriguez, is all of the other kind of stop gaps that we have in place for this going to be enough?
Well,
we're gonna find out in the next couple of weeks.
Who do we have?
We got Yariel Rodriguez and we got Jacob Barnes, and we did have Richard Lovelady until they sent him down.
Yeah, they're both
That's
gone.
Effectively it.
They're both gone now. It's Easton Lucas and it's Mason Florida. I want to talk about those guys in a little bit. I do want to stay on what you first said in that whole thing about people getting upset about the signing Max Scherzer thing. Well, my counter to that is who are they going to sign? At that point in the offseason, who are they sign? There's nobody left. There's nobody that's good that's going to be there pitching 32 games, giving you quality stuff, right? And even if they were there for 32 games, are they going to give you the stuff to potentially that Max Scherzer could give you, right? So I think it was a good dart throw to begin with. Now, you're right. What was the backup plan? Well, the plan was always to get Yariel Rodriguez into the mix, into the starting rotation. And bringing in Max Scherzer was hopefully going to be a bit of a buffer period, maybe get Yariel really comfortable in the pen. I mean, he had that one pretty good inning yesterday that looked like some potential of what he could show. But now he's a potential option to go this Friday against the New York Mets.
One of the only options, I'd say.
One of the only options. That's the thing. They haven't confirmed it yet on who's going to start. They have thrown around the idea of bringing up, well, he is on the team, but starting Easton Lucas because he's got a little bit of length. Here's it. Regardless, Yariel Rodriguez probably can't give you 5-6 innings. So you're going to have to probably pitch Easton Lucas anyways. So it's, for me, it doesn't matter who starts. For me, it's, okay, these two guys are going probably this Friday.
Right.
And is that good enough to cover the Band-Aid of the 15-day IL of Max Scherzer?
Sophie's saying that Friday is going to be Bassett. If you heard something about that, Sophie, please let us know. That'd be a lot of work.
I think it's going to be Saturday. Oh, this is just Fangraphs right here projecting. It's saying, I love they added this to the
Yes,
Fangraphs.
no,
Fangraphs
that's
awesome.
great.
But there you can see it right here on Friday. That is Max Scherzer's spot in the rotation.
Yep.
I mean, you could bump up Bassett, but then you're bumping up everybody else. And it's really, are we going to run with a 4-man rotation? Like we were talking about running with a 6-man rotation with these old guys. I don't think that's the best idea.
Listen, you could do it, but you're kind of just kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
You're going to need to address this issue eventually. And let's face it, with every added, or lessened day of rest for one of these guys, it's higher chance of getting injured. It's more opportunities for them to completely blow up. So, I mean, if you have to deal with this thing, if you want to shut that person up right now, I don't know what that's about.
It's a dono. Shout out to Mr. Julius H with the
Shout
dono.
out to Mr. Julius H right there. Thank you very much. I'll get to your thing in a second, but either way, you're going to have to address this problem sooner rather than later, and I think that we got to rip the Band-Aid off here and just deal with it immediately. Now, Mr. Julius H says, I'd rather Scherzer sort out his thumb injuries now than in October. That's very fair. Yep. However, my counter to that would be we might not make it to October for him to figure it out.
So, I mean, we just said it. The only options is Yariel Rodriguez and Easton Lucas. Like, we're not bringing Jake Bloss up yet. That's the only other guy.
No, he's not coming.
You know, like John Schneider said he wants to give him a couple starts down there, and by the point that he maybe looks good in a couple starts, Max Scherzer might be back. You never know. I mean, it's 15 days, but it could be longer than 15 days to go figure it out. So are you comfortable with that? Are we okay with rolling with Yariel and Easton Lucas?
Listen, man, like, what is the other alternative? The other alternative is you either make it extremely early trade right now for somebody that, might be on the bottom half of someone else's roster or something. I'm not sure where you go there. Maybe too early there. Maybe you do fire, like, it's just too early. I was going to say maybe you shoot off Addison Barge or something like that. No, it's too early for that at this current juncture. Then the other alternative is you go and you search free agency for I have no idea who's even available that could do something like that. They're probably not going to do that either.
No.
It feels like we are now in a spot where a bullpen day is going to be necessary. And with this Toronto Blue Jays bullpen, that is obviously rather concerning. You saw kind of the framework of what a bullpen day could look like on Friday. Now, granted, as Adam pointed out, Jacob Barnes and Dick Lovelady, they are off the team right now. They have been replaced with Mason Fluharty and Easton Lucas. That's great. We'll see what they can do. I'm more excited about them than I was about, Dick and Jacob. But let's be completely honest here. I don't think that Easton Lucas or Mason Fluharty are a sure thing at all, right? So you're probably going to end up with a day where we're going to give up more runs than we like to. I think that the biggest counter for all of this is to have the offense drop 8 again and hope that that's enough.
That's kind of what we have to do. And we'll get in the offense in just a little bit. But just sticking on the Mason Fluharty and Easton Lucas, let's give them a little bit of light here, and let's take a look at them right here. Coming out of spring training, Fluharty was an interesting candidate. Our buddy Scott from the Walk-Off did say that he loved what he saw from Mason Fluharty. Looking at what he did in AAA Buffalo last season, I mean, 56 games, 3.63 ERA, a whip of 1.1. Look, if he's always been that type of pitcher, just a nice, average, solid guy. Can he do that at the big league level? Well, he's going to get the low leverage moments to go improve it. And again, he's going to take the spot of Dick Lovelady and Jacob Barnes when we're down by 8 already early. It might be on Friday we get to see a good chunk of Mason Fluharty, but that's the role he's going to be, right? I'm not expecting a whole lot, but maybe I like him kind of a little bit better than I did Dick Lovelady because at least he's like an interesting wild card. You know what I mean?
Look, for me, I am not putting any expectations on him. The kid is 23 years old. I think that's
cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? But like, I just think it's unfair to assume or to hope that, okay, we're gonna throw this guy into some some type of situation where he's got to go up against some guys and
can you not give up 4 runs? Is what I'm asking. You know?
Yeah.
The bar is very low
right?
now.
The bar is 4 earned runs from Dick Lovelady. So can you do a little bit better than that? I guess if that is the expectation, then I do expect you to do that.
Yes.
And if you can't do that, then let's face it, you probably can't be in MLB. So fingers crossed he's capable of keeping us in the game. Easton Lucas, kind of similar. The guy's only had 18 career innings at MLB level. They obviously haven't been great, but I mean, again, it's 18 innings.
Yeah, and like with Toronto last year, I mean, I think I remember this. I'm getting flashbacks. He came up for literally 2 games, and yes, we did. Did we spot start him? No, we didn't spot start. He piggybacked, I believed, and it wasn't a good piggyback. It wasn't very good at all. So that's the situation we're in. So yeah, now the pitching staff is a little bit in trouble, and you're talking about the offense. You're also asking for great starts from all these other guys too. Like Chris Bassett. We needed that start from Chris Bassett yesterday. Honestly, an honorable mention for Jay of the Week. He didn't get it, but honestly, a big honorable mention for going 6 innings, only giving up 1 earned run, and that 1 earned run honestly was Tyler Heineman doing a pass ball, and then Kevin Gausman. We need to see Kevin Gausman again as well, back into elite form. And yes, 2 isn't enough. We do need Jose Barrios as well.
I just think that getting down this early with the injury and the bullpen and everything like that, it's such a bad spot to be because, you end up, even if you're winning that game on Friday, let's say you go Easton Lucas is great. He gives you 3 innings. Then you go to Yariel. He gives you 2.5 more. And now you still have 4 innings or so, but you're up. And now you got to pitch all your good bullpen guys, right? For the 4 innings that are remaining, right? You get 4 innings that are remaining. You got to pitch all your good bullpen guys to maintain the lead. Okay, you do it. You win on Friday. But now every single guy that's, typically being thrown into a higher level situation has been spent the day prior. And for the rest of the weekend, you got to weather that storm.
That's why you need Chris Bassett to give you 7
exactly.
the following day.
And
it's asking a lot, man.
You're asking a lot on your starters, especially, when you're running what is now kind of like a 4-man rotation, doing the bullpen day on day 5. You need your starters to be elite. Bassett looked great yesterday. Gausman looked great the day prior or 2 days prior. Jose Barrios, we're just going to cross our fingers and pray to God that he can get better from that. Bowden Francis' start tonight is going to be crucial because is he the Bowden Francis from the second half of last year or the Bowden Francis from the first half of last year? And I mean, I know a lot of us have kind of blanked out what he did in the first half of last season. It was really bad, and it was so bad that he got sent down. It wasn't great. Then when he came back up, he had unlocked something. I'm just crossing my fingers and praying to God that we are going to see that version today, because if you're doing 4 guys in the rotation, we're going to need it.
Look, we're going to need the team to pick up the slack of no Max Scherzer. And what's scary is that we were almost okay with this rotation going into it before Max Scherzer. My goodness. That would have been really bad. Imagine we just never signed Max Scherzer.
Never got Scherzer and just had Yariel. And
that's all we had.
Yeah.
Imagine losing one more of those
I can't believe I talked myself into that for a month or so. I was just like, oh, yeah, this is okay. And now that I'm here, I'm like, wait a second.
Right. Well, let's actually give let's talk about Yariel. We talked about Easton Lucas, Mason LaFleur. Yariel Rodriguez came in to clean up some innings on the Thursday, and he got beat up, right? He gave up 2 home runs. As you can see it right there, that's a total of 3 earned runs. But he did come in yesterday, again, in the 8th inning, so just 1 inning. We're not asking a whole lot. 1 inning of Yariel Rodriguez. And, it started off shaky, threw a couple middle pitches, but then, he eventually found his rhythm, and he was getting a lot of swing and miss out of batters. See, for me, it's scary because you were kind of hoping and putting him in this role and kind of not stretching him out as much. You're kind of putting him there to be the long man, give you 2, maybe 3. He's only been able to do 1 each game. Now you're asking in 5 days to ramp up to 3, 4 maybe. It's going to be scary because that's the thing. Yariel in 1 inning of work, I'm more comfortable with than 4. So again, we're kind of talking about the same thing.
Listen,
Yariel's going to have to be able to select when he's throwing these pitches. Yesterday he was pumping in the fastball. That was the key for him to kind of get ahead of batters. he's got to establish that early on. He can't do what he did last year, which is slider, try to get cute with all his stuff and his off speed early. He's got to pump in the fastball because we saw how good the slider and the curveball and the off speed can be working off it latter half of the game. So he's going to have a good plan of approach.
Here's the thing, man. It doesn't need to be scary if you just tell yourself that come Friday, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to give up probably on average 6 earned runs.
Yeah.
We're probably, let's face it, we're probably...
If you're saying that, like, we're already going to lose.
I'm not saying that, though. I'm saying that I think on Friday, more times than not, we're going to be giving up around 6, maybe 7 earned runs. I know that. I'm accepting that. Anything better from the pitching staff, and I will be thoroughly impressed. So now, if you're the offense, you got to walk into that game and know we probably got to put up 6 or 7 or more than that if we want to walk away with a W.
I'll throw in another wrinkle, too. Because Friday game, like you were mentioning earlier, is kind of like, oh, well, we're going to burn through our bullpen. Well, I think we just say forget the score. Easton Lucas, you got to give us 3. Ariel, you got to give us 4. You got to give us 7 innings between you two.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, because we need to save our guys for tomorrow. If we're okay with giving up 6, 7 runs, then you guys stay in the game for 7 innings.
Like, if you walk in and that's your expectation.
That's your expectation.
Right?
Just
and I think,
innings today.
And you know what? Like, if your expectation is give us, and like anything less than 6 earned runs, we'd be happy with, right? And let me put it this way, guys. If the Toronto Blue Jays lose on Friday, we're jumping ahead so far in the week right now. We still got a whole series before that.
Talk about that.
But if the Toronto Blue Jays were to lose on Friday and the other opposing team scores 5 or less, I will be thoroughly disappointed in the offense because that would mean that the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen actually gave you a somewhat winnable game, which I don't think I'm expecting at this current moment.
I'll throw out I think I'm more looking at the innings, honestly. Like if you only get like collectively 4 or 5 innings from those 2 guys,
wow, that's a major L. That's going to set you up for failure for the whole weekend.
Yeah, like that's 2 roster spots that are replacing quote unquote Max Scherzer, and we just burned them. So that's even worse. So I honestly I want like 7. Give me 6 or 7.
That's super fair, man. Now, I did see Sophie in the chat saying, what do you guys think of Hoffman? We got other stuff that we want to talk about today, but I do want to bring up Jeff Hoffman because, like, that guy just looks dominant, everybody. You can tell that there is a significant tier difference between him and effectively every other player that we have in our bullpen. Even guys like Jimmy and Brendan Little, they look nice and they're getting the results. Hoffman looks in control when he's on the bump. You know, you were bringing up, it was the two-seamer to then the
4-seam.
Four-seam. Like, it's just like that shit was insane.
Dude, and I got to give him and I got to give Tyler Heineman the most credit against Gary Sanchez to finish the game. That 10-pitch bat, when he was just pumping in fastballs down the middle. They even threw a little off speed and he was able to contact that. They said, at full count, just throw a curveball away in the dirt. Like we're just throw one away in the dirt. We're gonna get him to chase. He's in swing mode, and it wasn't even close.
No,
to
it
the
wasn't.
zone.
It wasn't.
And they got him to fish. So honestly, a lot of credit. And yeah, he's been awesome. I love the signing. And hopefully, I will continue to love. The signing.
He for me is like tier S or S tier, excuse me, for our bullpen. He might be the only one in S tier. Just with the way he looks on the bump, so dominant. That's got to continue, man.
Absolutely. All right, so that's all the pitching staff. Obviously, a lot of troubles with the pitching staff. I think we're ranked like 26 in ERA. Granted, we faced the 3rd best offense in baseball, or I guess the 4th best offense in all of baseball this weekend. So that's going to happen when you face that kind of offense.
Sure.
So,
Granted, you made them the 4th best offense.
You did make them the 4th, but they're already
good.
Year,
Listen, we do know that Baltimore is going to be good, and I mean, like, they were going through when we were watching the games, man. Like, I feel like we have these pre-existing narratives, like, Ryan Mountcastle is a J killer, which he is, right? He's a J killer. And then they were flashing up the stats of some of the other guys, like Jackson Holiday, 4 out of his 6 home runs that he's had in his career against the Jays. Adley Rutschman has a OPS over 1 against the Jays.
Yeah.
Jordan Westberg.
They're
all fucking J killers, man.
And here's the thing, like, and they're doing it without Gunner. They actually just lost
Golden
Cowser to the IL after that slide in the first. I mean, he was struggling to begin the series, but not to say that's a bad loss. He's still a great player.
Yeah.
But still, they've got players, and they're going to do damage.
They're going to be good, man. They proved that, again, like we thought it was a win for us to escape with 2 wins.
Absolutely.
They came into our home ballpark and won too, right?
I think both teams felt like they won,
they did okay.
especially with their pitching injuries and no Gunnar Henderson. The fact that they got 2 in the road is definitely a win for them.
Yeah, so they're still going to be a problem, everybody. We kind of knew that. But offensively speaking, for the Toronto Blue Jays, there was, I would say, a decent amount of things to like, right?
That's definitely the most positive of the entire week.
Yeah, which is,
the offense.
And again, like you were saying, oh, like my pre-existing biases are confirmed. I mean, I would argue, again, like this is a full overreaction, but I would say so far, I mean, because my pre-existing bias walking into this was our offense sucks. I was, impressed by the offense this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think because my pre-existing biases were changed when I saw them in spring training, when I started to buy into David Popkins a little bit. And look, we're only ranked 12th. I mean, there was obviously a lot of hard teams to compete with, like what the Yankees were doing with their torpedo bats. The Baltimore Orioles smacking 10 homers over the weekend, and we only had 3. And we still were 12th in baseball. Maybe we goes up once we start hitting some homers. We'll see. But honestly, against Baltimore, you should have been doing that anyways, and hopefully we can continue and grow off that. Now, who are the guys that were doing it? A lot of guys. Bo Bichette. I mean, the dude had 7 hits after getting no hit the first night. A lot of guys were no hit the first night. He gets up 7 hits the rest of the weekend, 2 doubles, 2 walks, and 0 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's
from
nuts,
Bo Bichette.
actually. And you know that Bo Bichette's got that in his game. Like, he is somebody that's a free swinger. He's been really good about being able to fight off pitches, but, occasionally you are going to end up with a couple strikeouts. The fact that he made it through the entire weekend without one, he, along with, did Alan Roden stay? He did get one right at the end.
Yeah.
I know that he didn't
Right
have
at
one
the
for a
end.
long period of time, and then I guess right at the last at bat, he must have struck out. But yeah, Bo Bichette had a phenomenal weekend.
Yeah, Bo Bichette for me is phenomenal, and honestly, he's going to be the guy we're relying on, and the fact that his leadoff is even better because it's like you're going to see this guy most often. However, if you're an OG on the show, you know that usually we don't talk about a player before we announce the J of the week, and I see Sophie talking about it. And let me tell you, it was back and forth between the J of the week. I mean, you could make an absolutely strong argument for Bo Bichette, but I think just because of the way this guy played and how unexpected it was and his great defense, we got to announce the J of the week for this player right here. If it wants to play. Does it want to play? There we go. The J of the week, everybody, goes to Andres Jimenez, everyone. Andres Jimenez.
He was kick-ass
He was
this week,
absolutely kick-ass. I mean, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. Yes, he didn't hit as many hits as Bo Bichette, but when we needed some long bombs, we got some long bombs from Andres Jimenez, and as well as some great defense. We got to see a great taste of that defense up the middle from Andres Jimenez. And again, you can make a strong argument for Bo any other week, giving it to Bo Bichette, but hitting 2 homers in a 4-game series, being the cleanup hitter is very valuable.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he was phenomenal. The power was completely unexpected. When we were walking into the season, seeing the lineup card at him at 4, thinking to ourselves, that's somebody that had a 600 OPS last year. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's showing up in a big way. And again, 4 games in, do I expect him to lead the Toronto Blue Jays in homers when everything's said and done? Of course not. But it looks like he is comfortable, which is all you can ask for a guy that you traded for this offseason. The fact that we're getting offense is great. Now, to the point of Bo Bichette also being up here, I mean, I'd say that, if you wanted to put a tie for J of the Week, you certainly could, because somebody just pointed it out in the chat, and I didn't even consider this, but Bo Bichette is actually right now tied for the league lead in hits in MLB.
I might take today, I was thinking about it this morning, taking Bo Bichette to lead the AL in hits. If it was still open, I would actually smash that.
He just looks dominant at the plate right now. Like, I think out of everybody, and again, we gave J of the Week to Andres Jimenez, which is phenomenal, but out of just eyeball test, seeing somebody at the plate, Bo Bichette is the person I've been most impressed with how he's approaching his at-bats, what he's doing. It's all good.
Dude, even the, what would it be, his 8 outs that he hit in the play, because he didn't strike out at all, they were all competitive. They were all coming
hard
off the bat
hit balls,
couple warning tracks, line drives over there in right field. Like, the dude looked like Bo Bichette, vintage Bo Bichette. And honestly, maybe I'm overreacting because I am overreacting. Maybe even the best Bo Bichette we could be seeing. I haven't seen Bo Bichette hit barrels like that in a long time. So.
He looked absolutely all the way back, folks.
I love how this is Jimenez's J of the week, and we're like, yeah, but Bo, still fucking
listen.
amazing. He's awesome.
That's why it was so tight,
It's
right?
so
Like
tight.
I think that both of these guys are deserving of a little bit of credit right now. Now, we do need to bring up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because on the flip side of things, he did not have the greatest series. I felt like he was, while still serviceable, he was swinging at some stuff that he probably shouldn't have. Felt like he was getting frustrated a lot more than Bo. Ended up having 6 strikeouts, which was tied for the most on the team with Anthony Santander. So both of those boys, if they're going to be batting 2 and 3, have obviously got to pick it up this series.
Yeah, like I didn't actually mind the overall result of Vladdy. I mean, yes, you can look at the OPS and go, ew, but like, he still hit 267, 4 for 15. He competed. He had a double in there, just no homers, 2 RBIs, so like he didn't
sink the team.
Sink the team, right? Whereas, like, you could make an argument about Anthony Santander sinking the team. But one guy who didn't sink the team, and like Nick alluded to off top of the show, me kind of having a vendetta against this guy, how I want him on the bench, George Springer went 4 for 11. He didn't start one of the games, so he had a little bit less at-bats. But 4 for 11 with 2 RBIs as well, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and the only stolen base on the team, which helped me win the wheel. The 1 stolen base. So
yeah,
George,
that's crazy.
Again, I said it off the top. It's 1 series. I'm happy you did it because you're making that you're keeping your leash a little bit longer.
Totally, man.
A season or a series like this.
100%, dude. And this is what it is to have 9 people in the lineup. All right, like you're not always gonna get the best performances out of your top 4. You're going to need other guys to produce. George Springer was one of those guys. Will Wagner had a nice series as well, and he was always down there batting 7, 8, pretty much the entire series. He was solid, right? And you're going to need to have that type of production coming from the bottom of your lineup. I also just love to see people in chat already being like, time to pay Bo Bichette.
I know. Guys, again,
instead of Guerrero.
Like, it's 1 series.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
we should have like a counter or something tracking how many times we flip-flop back and forth between extending Bo or extending Vlad. Because look, I hear you. Bo Bichette looked like a fucking superstar over the course of this weekend, and that guy reminded me of all of the previous years seeing Bo.
Yeah.
Like, that did not look at all like the version of Bo Bichette that we saw last year.
No.
Totally
not
different.
At all.
Oh, like you literally, it looks like somebody else took his skin off and put it on their body. Like, different guy entirely. So I hear where you guys are coming from. Like, the guy, if he keeps playing like that, deserves all the money in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe like have a meter of like where fans are in terms of extension, and it'll be the overreaction meter because like apparently everyone's over to Bo right now.
It's gonna flip flop back and forth every series, dude.
And then the tough reality is we might not get Bo.
We might not get any. Actually, is the really tough reality.
Yeah, exactly. We might not get. Yeah, right. Like, all right. Well, that's the lineup. Anybody else that kind of stuck out to you? Honestly, Will Wagner was kind of the final one for me, and the fact that he played some pretty good third base was very exciting. Yeah, that's the lineup. I feel good.
I feel good about the offense. I'm liking that we're getting a couple of the guys out the gate looking hot. Even in the games where they lost, they were getting runners on, and in that final game too, the 3-1 victory over Baltimore, 3 runs isn't a whole lot, but there was a lot of runners in scoring position for the Jays, which you could also argue is a bad thing because we've seen them before not hit with runners in scoring position, but they were threatening what felt like every single inning, which I do think is good to see.
I'm looking right now to see what the runners in scoring position numbers are.
Oh,
just
wow,
for
4
fun.
games in, eh?
Just 4 games. Hey, overreaction time, right?
Yeah, no. That's super fair. I wonder where we're gonna be, man, because we did have a lot of opportunities and like we didn't cash in a whole lot. 21st, kind of where we were last year, batting 171. Everyone. 171. There you go. All right, 1 series in, folks.
Series in.
420 OPS too, so absolutely no pop whatsoever.
Nope.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. Lots of time, everybody. What are we moving on to next?
Well, I guess we gotta talk about this a little bit because this narrative's still going. I don't want to like spend a whole lot of time because it's like, we've talked about this and hey,
right.
But the one interesting note is that it's still happening and we're still talking about it. It's the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension. Now this came from Bob Nightingale, so take that what you will. Apparently he's really good friends with Bo's friends and knows all about that information too. But Bob Nightingale is out here saying that the Blue Jays are continuing to inch closer to a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension, likely a 14 to 15-year deal worth about $500 million, which will be crucial for the Blue Jays CEO, blah, blah, blah.
So I do wonder if this is news at all.
Because we've already heard this.
That's the thing. Like, is this a new thing? Is this the pre-existing thing? Have you heard anything? Yeah. And that's great. Like, that's awesome. I just find it hard to believe that we're actually making progress on the first weekend of baseball, frankly. We got Jen Smith in here. Shout out to Jen. You guys should go follow her on Twitter. She's saying that Vladdy tends to start off slowly, which does not make him a $600 million man. Totally agree. To be $600 million guy, you got to play throughout the whole season consistently.
Yeah.
But I also think the pressure / attention / distraction will get to him a little bit. This is something that I actually brought up at our opening day event when we had Scott there. I was bringing up the idea that Guerrero, kind of throughout his whole career up to this point, has struggled in those big moments. You know, when the lights are brightest, when you want him to have his Ohtani moment or his Aaron Judge moment or his moment that solidifies him as being that $600 million guy, oftentimes it doesn't really come. And you're thinking, okay, he's a young guy, he's getting older, he's becoming more of a veteran, and it's not coming. So I brought up the idea that, well, maybe in this contract year, everybody's expecting him to have this huge, breakout season, a contract year. We're going to have the best year ever. We're going to make tons and tons of money. Maybe it's not a good thing for him because maybe it's too much pressure to have this money looming over him the whole time.
And here's the thing. I will continue to put more pressure on him than anybody else in the Toronto Blue Jays because when you get offered $500 million or whatever that is, total with deferrals, and you don't take it, well, now you're expected to be Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, every at-bat. And I know people were kind of getting on. It's like, guys, it's one at-bat. Don't overreact. We had that terrible at-bat where he chased every single pitch and struck out in a big spot. I'm sorry, but you turned down $500 million and you want to prove that you're better than $500 million? I'm expecting you to come up big.
Right.
And yes, I get it's one series, but if this continues, I'm going to put the most pressure on him and amplify every single mistake that he makes on a grander scale.
That's the thing, man. They're talking this whole time about how it's not going to be a distraction. I think that at this point, it is constantly going to be a distraction because Guerrero's got to know that as well, right? You put your stake in the ground and you said that I am that caliber of player. So every time that he gets the update on his phone that Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs and had, 8 or whatever RBIs he had, it's like, oh shit, I struck out twice today. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I want to be that caliber of player, good is not good enough anymore. Now you have to be great.
That's the thing. And I get it. Great players have bad at-bats. They all do from time to time. But listen, everything's amplified. So let's see it. And again, we're gonna see this first month. If he gets off to a slow start in April and his OPS is high 600, low 700, I'm on this guy.
Well, and that's
he should be
for
on
me.
Himself too.
And to Jen's point that you said in the chat right there, that alone, you have one bad month. Even if, your season-long numbers end up being, a strong season, everything like that, if I'm paying you $600, or obviously not me, but Blue Jays, if you're paying that amount of money, I need you to be the picture of consistency, right? Yes, of course, you're going to have those, a lesser month and a blow-up month, but I want your floor to always be good. Yeah. I never want to see you have a bad month because that's when this whole team, if we're paying you that amount of money, we're going to fall apart because our guy isn't doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, Steve right here saying, never mind Aaron Judge, there were at least 3 Orioles who looked more dangerous in there than Vlad this series. And that's true,
sure,
right?
Totally.
And again, I was looking at the Orioles.
Is Jordan Westberg a $600 million guy?
Right? And also, a team like the Orioles, and again, it's the first series, maybe overreacting, but a team like the Orioles with their pitching staff, that should be let's pad some stats here. Because that's what Bo Bichette did.
Right.
Bo Bichette padded some stats. So you should be doing the same thing. Again, one series. We got to move on to another series, though. Maybe he breaks out this one.
Yeah, 100%, man. Hopefully Bob Nightingale is actually, making sense or there has some sort of update because, again, even though we're getting on Guerrero like crazy, I do still think it would be in his best interest and in our best interest for him to sign the extension, get that shit done, dusted. You don't have to worry about it anymore, and then you can just play some good ball.
I agree. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about this upcoming National Series still at home at the Rogers Center before we go on a long road trip. So winning this series is crucial. Tonight at 7 o'clock, we're going to have Bowden Francis up against fellow Canadian Mike Soroka. Shout out to Mike Soroka trying to make that big comeback from the Atlanta Braves.
Dude,
now, Mike,
he's still in the league.
Dude, that's the thing. He has been shaky. He's been getting injured. I have zero expectations for Mike Soroka. He could give up 10. Actually, if he gave up 0, I'd be very shocked. He could give up a lot of runs today. Let's be frank, everybody. But Bowden Francis, big start for him. I mean, yeah, you're looking at it right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a full year since 2020.
He's effectively played like 110 innings or so in the last 2 seasons, and they have not been quality. Yeah, and then the 2 seasons prior to that, he didn't play because of injury.
And then COVID.
This should be batting practice.
It should.
Frankly.
You have to beat up on a player like this. And the big key here is, what are we going to see from Bowden Francis? Is he going to get off to a great start? Is he going to get off to a rocky start like he did last year? Well, before we do, everybody, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsors video, and let's make our picks for this one. Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only, must be 19 years older to participate, and guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal. Place to go if you have any interest at all in sports betting. Here are the lines right here. Blue Jays heavy favorites. I understand it. They are at home. We have who I would argue to be a better pitcher at this current juncture of their career than they do. Nationals, not that great of a team anyways walking into this season. Frankly, one of the few easy spots on the schedule of April for the Blue Jays.
I think it is the easiest spot. Now, they do have some exciting guys like James Wood and Dylan Cruz, but we got to see what those guys do. And honestly, looking at this line right here, I feel very confident with the Blue Jays win. I'll even go as far as to say we win by 2 and take that juicy line of 2.15 multiplier.
Yeah, I don't hate that 2.15 at all. Also, just looking at Soroka, and again, I know that we like Bowden, but it is the first start. Taking the over on something like this might not be a horrible option either, right? Because you know that the Blue Jays bullpen is questionable. Bowden Francis could just ease his way into things, and Soroka, I mean, like if this guy gives up less than 4, I'd say that's a major win for the Nationals.
Absolutely. This is the bottom of their rotation, right? And Bowden had a rough spring at the beginning, and then he ended up with a really good final start. So we'll see if he carries that into it. But Blue Jays winning this one, I would literally put my money on it. But guys, scan the QR code right there if you want to hop on.
Yeah, this has to be a series where I think you see the bats go kind of nuclear.
They have
actually
to go off. This is getting hot before you go on the road trip kind of series.
Yeah, because after this, right? Who's the teams after this? It goes.
So it will be. Oh my gosh, the Mets are going to be this
and then
weekend.
Boston and then Baltimore again. Yeah, so that road trip. That is a gauntlet, right? You're up against presumably 3 playoff teams in a row in their home ballparks. This has got to be absolutely, we deliver it to these Washington Nationals. Now on Tuesday, you're going to have Jose Barrios up against Williams. I'm not super familiar with him. What's his deal, dude?
Take a look right there at Williams. Looks like it's going to be his first start of the season. So, wow. So I thought Soroka was their 4th. Yeah, because they've only played 3 games, so this is their 5th pitcher. If Micah Soroka is their 4th, not to put any weight to it, but this is their 5th. Jose Barrios needs a bounce back. Now, people have asked us after the opening day game, are you worried about Jose? I'm not yet, because I've seen him blow up games like that before, especially early in the season. Granted, last year he didn't. I'm not worried yet. I think the Nationals lineup is a good lineup to maybe get a good bounce back, get comfortable into a game. He never got comfortable on that Thursday. Maybe you can get away with a couple things, get comfortable. What is Williams' deal here?
Dude, I'm just taking an extra hard look right here, seeing what's up. Okay, so he did, so it's a weird one. So he was with the Nationals in 2023.
Yeah.
Terrible. Had a 5.5 ERA, not good, 144.1 innings, really, really bad. The following year, so last year, he started 13 games and was great.
Wow.
And then I assume he must have got hurt in some capacity and then, wasn't able to finish the season or maybe started the season injured and finished this way. Somebody let me know in the comments down below. So,
that's wild.
Somebody
Wild
who
card.
can play good baseball, but also, extremely volatile here could just as easily blow it. Kind of honestly, kind of like Jose Barrios a little bit.
Dude, I forgot he was in Pittsburgh. Like, he had a great year in Pittsburgh, man. He's been up and down his entire career. Like,
totally.
What version are you gonna get? I mean, where are you kind of sitting at right now at this one?
Dude, like
I don't know.
Jose.
I'm gonna say we drop this one because of uncertainty. Because I actually feel pretty good about the next game.
That's the thing, right? Like I do think that.
Oh wow, actually Gore dominated.
Frick.
Oh, shit. All right. Okay, here's the thing. Jose versus this guy who's random and got hurt. I don't know. I like our offense. I think Jose's gonna bounce back. I'll say we win this one. I think we're gonna win on Tuesday, and then moving on to freaking Wednesday. Gore did have a phenomenal start.
He was really, really good. 13. I did not realize he had 13 strikeouts and no earned runs. Are you shitting me?
Is that just a once in a blue moon? Or
who were they up against? Who was Washington playing?
I don't even know. Actually,
somebody let us know in the chat. Like, was it a relatively decent offense? Because if that's like even a serviceable offense, like that's impressive.
I'm gonna look it up. What are you thinking for this one?
Okay. I think I'm gonna do the same thing that you're gonna do. Like, we need to win 2 of 3 here.
Phillies.
Obviously, the Phillies
he dominated the Phillies.
That would have been on opening day too.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that we take the L. I think it's gonna be a great matchup, a great pitching duel. But I'll just say we take it. I think we win 2 out of 3 is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I think
we gotta win 2 out of 3. Just for that, honestly, like respect to Mackenzie Gore for 13 K. That's really impressive. I'm gonna just say the same thing as you. We win the first 2, and then we drop the third one right there. I still think that Gausman can have a great start, but I mean, 0 earned runs is 0 earned runs, and it's tough to win when he goes 13 Ks for no earned.
That will be a challenge. Look, if we can actually get to Mackenzie Gore on Wednesday, that'll be a good challenge and a good test for us.
Well, and hopefully by that point we've got 2 wins under our belt back to back, so you're feeling like, okay, we can play a little bit free here. Can we get off to a really nice start or just good start?
Absolutely. So guys, you let us know in the comments and in the live chat, what is your prediction for this upcoming series? If they go 2 out of 3, then boom, we're 4-3 to go on the road, and that is an exceptional start.
I will certainly take that. That's where you need to be when you're doing the gauntlet that they are about to embark on. 250 people in here, guys. We are about to spin the wheel, but before we do, please hit that like, smash that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below.
Without further ado, everybody, let's spin that wheel.
The spinning fortune, baseball, colorful, future determining, stat analyzing, and it's a wheel that we spin every week.
It is, in fact, a wheel that we spin every single week, folks. My week last week to kick things off, we're all tied up 1-1. George Springer, can you believe it or not, actually stole a goddamn base. He was the only person that did it. So Adam capable of taking that one. Neither Bo nor Vladdy hit a home run this weekend, so that one is nulled. And then Bichette having the series that he had obviously outdid Guerrero for OPS. So we are starting with a split, me and you. It is your week this week. Let's do it, baby.
Let's get into it, guys. And let us know as we're spinning, who would you pick in these categories, everybody? What's going to be the first one of the week? Home runs.
We're back to home runs, man. Now this one, this should be a bit more exciting because last week, it only being the 4 games, it was really, now you're going to get 6 games, so a little bit more of a sample size. You got to hope or expect some of these guys to come out and actually deliver.
Yeah, and based on how weird it is, and I think I know who I'd pick, but I'm gonna let you take it because it really could be one of those ones where anyone could go. So I'll let you go first for this one.
Gonna let me go first on this one. That's totally fair. I think that the way that Bo Bichette is swinging the baseball bat right now is something that I would like to place my flag in. So I'm going to take Bo Bichette and feel comfortable about it.
Okay.
Listen, he had a lot of warning track shots. He's bound to have one fly eventually.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and that was gonna be my pick if I had to go first on that one. But I'm also, for me, it's between Tony Taters and it's Vladdy. Vladdy has made more contact than Tony Taters. Granted, they both have 6 strikeouts, but I gotta go with my guy, and I gotta go with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who did have a couple warning tracks. I actually have 1 warning track shot this week, so hopefully one of them goes over, maybe gets hot a little.
All right, Vladdy versus Bo again. We're running that one back, you know?
Back, baby. Now, granted, I will take, if it's an OPS, I'm gonna just dip into I'm dipping into Bichette.
That's reasonable, man. Back to home runs. There. Let's spin that one more time, everybody. Really likes homers, so for me, it's just where I'm starting.
Hey, there's
Jesus,
OPS.
there it is. All right.
Okay, so
go ahead.
You know I gotta take him, right? Like OPS, even though it's dipping into yours, like you can still pop a homer and then struggle and then still have the OPS category.
Yeah, 100%, man. Oof. What do I want to do here? Like, do I believe in Guerrero? I don't know. Do I believe in Jimenez? No.
That's where it's like, because that's the thing is Jimenez, he looked good, but can he do that over 7 games?
Can he do that?
Or 6 games.
Yeah, over the course of the week. Where do you go here? Sophie saying Springer. Sophie, I knew you were gonna say that. I don't know if I can buy into that one, Sophie. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Maybe if it's stolen bases, but maybe that's like the one category Springer's gonna have.
Is stolen bases?
Stolen bases. Maybe
Man,
walks.
I just don't know who's gonna actually beat out Bo Bichette right now. Like I feel so strongly that Bo is gonna do this thing.
He's locked in right now.
You know what? Like, I think it's the first time anyone's taken him this year. So just for shits, give me Anthony Santander,
okay.
And hopefully he pops a couple, has himself a nice week.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm throwing shots.
We're underrating him right now. He's still top 3 in this offense.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And ultimately, like, it's so early on. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
This whole thing's luck anyways, for crying out loud. Spin the goddamn wheel. Let's see what happens next.
What do we got here? Yeah, everyone's kind of split. Jimenez, Tony, Wagner. Not a bad shout. Let's see what we end up on. It's still going. Stolen bases again.
Wow, dude, the exact same categories we had.
No way.
It's the exact same categories we had last week. All right, man. I don't. Right. It's you. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll take my chance and I will go Jimenez. Like that just makes the most sense. Like even though he won me the week last week, I gotta go Jimenez. So are you gonna go Springer?
Like. He's the only one that has one, right? I assume so, right? Like, is there any reason not to pick George Springer?
Other than the fact he can't get on base, but he has been getting on base.
He has been getting on base, right? Like, is there... I'm just trying to think of any other situation this weekend.
Bo's looking chunky. Vlad doesn't run.
Yeah, Bo's looking a little... That's the one thing, guys. Bo's looking a little thick.
Yeah,
he's looking a little... I don't care if you hit the way that you hit this past week. He's looking like a little thick boy.
Everyone's saying Springer.
Roden, they did send Roden.
They did send Roden.
They send Roden, but, like, do I trust that Roden's going to be in there the whole time?
Yeah, probably not. Well, he might be splitting time with Springer.
That's fucking...
That's the thing, eh?
What a dumb.
I would go Springer here. He did it. He did it, man.
Yeah, I think I have to, guys. I think I have to. Man. That's crazy.
All right, guys, that's the wheel. Crazy. I wonder if it's weighted, this like freaking wheel. We got all the same categories again. But guys, you let us know in the comments down below. Who would you take? Who do you got riding with on the wheel this week? I'm excited for some more Blue Jays baseball. We'll be live again for a live play-by-play. I think we're doing tomorrow.
Should be tomorrow, yeah.
And then we'll figure it out for the Mets series, what we're doing then. I think they have like a 3 o'clock game on a Friday. It could be interesting. But until then, hit that like button, subscribe. We got more content coming up for y'all. We can't wait to see y'all again.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, go Jays, go!